Alan Stratton from Woodturning. Some time ago I made some wooden ties. They look nice, at least when you're standing. But when you're sitting, they're not that comfortable. They do bend, but only in one direction. And I'd planed out a lot of wood to be the blanks for this. Still have it. So I think I'll make this into some bracelets. So I've sliced down the wood a little bit more, glued them up into blanks, segmented, offset the glue lines, put a little veneer in between just to stabilize it. I don't want it to break on the glue lines. So let's make a bracelet.
Woods are an assortment of maple, honey locust, walnut, purple heart, madrone, bubinga. So on these, I'm not sure exactly what the reddish one was, but there's walnut and there's maple, honey locust, and purple heart. For this first set, I glued it up fairly simple, just used a 4-segment, which applied a 45-degree angle for the cuts, fairly easy to join up and offset the joint lines. I was a little bit nervous about having them thin and the joint lines, so I added a piece of oak veneer in between the two just to provide us some additional stability in the process. The tooling went very easy. It's not like bracelet's fairly small. It's not like a bowl or something large, except that you have to do 2 sides, and that's more the issue, trying to get one side first and then make the other side symmetrical in the end. Very light touch required. And then switched to a scraper. Found that my chisel point was pretty good for getting in there, had enough surface to do it and to provide the appropriate points, and also a round nose, but the chisel point worked out to be the best for the scraping on this purpose. Took 1 cue from pen turning and sealed the wood with CA glue. It provided filled the cracks nicely, provided a nice firm surface to build on later. Did that after sanding it with the 80 and the 120 grits, and then finished off the sanding up to 220 and 400 grit. Finished it off with some friction polish, shellac based. Put a nice shine on it. Almost think you're done at this stage, except that there's the whole other side to do. So carefully part it off. Work in there. I went from both sides, a little bit from the front and a little bit from the back to get it off. And then actually had to glue up another piece to my chuck. It didn't have quite enough to jam it onto, so I added a little bit more. I did use Baltic birch for the chuck, which was unfortunate because it's very hard on my tools. Next time I'd try and probably use something much softer and more forgiving than the Baltic birch. And finish off the outer. A little more scraping action to firm it up, get the curve the way I want it. Then seal it up a little again with CA glue. Also use CA glue to fill any joints or cracks in the wood to make it nice and solid. Then sand it, went through the whole routine, and then up to 400 grit sandpaper. Then a little more friction polish, shine it up good, and then just pop it off in my hands. I did do a little sanding afterwards on the inside, trim it up.
Well, they're finished. 3 girls' bracelets. I think they turned out nice, but I just thought of a problem. I have 3 bracelets, My granddaughters are all coming to see me next week. I have 6 granddaughters, 3 bracelets. Hence the problem. I better get busy.